He kōna e purangi tēnei nā te reo irirangi o Aotearoa.
Kia ora, hello, and welcome along to the Music 101 interview podcast. I'm Charlotte Ryan. Now, British band Idols are regular visitors to New Zealand, but to be honest, it took me a wee while to sort of understand and get their music. It's loud, it can be quite abrasive sometimes, and I guess you'd definitely throw it in the alternative punk rock category, which to some people, yes, it does sound aggressive and abrasive, but when you hear from the Idols frontman, he will say that the music is actually incredibly positive. It's about love and it shows great passion. Joe has had a lot of grief in his life, and more than most, so it was so interesting to speak to him about how he uses his sadness and grief and trauma to instead reclaim joy from those experiences, and he does that through music. After this interview, as hopefully you will too, I had so much of a better understanding and love and appreciation for Idols tunes.
We have a concise message. It brings lots of open-minded and varied human beings that are full of love and warmth, and we're very grateful to have them as our family.
I love that. Did you say you have a concise message?
Yeah. I mean, we are a band that purvey a singular message, which is love.
Some listeners may get surprised by you saying that, because when we see you live or when we hear your music, I think a lot of people mistake your energy as anger, don't they?
Yeah, probably, but they're not listening, they're hearing. For anyone who misconstrues our violence as anger, to open your eyes and your heart to what is merely art, and maybe if you receive the love we give, you might want to give it in return. And that making love is a beautiful thing. Thanks for having us, RNZ.
I've got to say, I love your positivity, and I think a lot of people will be surprised at your optimism.
Yeah.
Has that always been part of you and your music? Or, I mean, you've had such an incredible life. Has that sort of come more later in your life, your positivity to the world?
Thanks, that's a nice question, interesting. I mean, no, I've always been optimistic, very much so. I think to lose a daughter and a mother at the time I did, and to go through addiction at the time I did, whether I put that on myself or not, it was still a challenge. But no matter how dark it got, and I lost my cousin as well, it was all these things that happened that might, how can I put this? It's always going to put you in a bad place, as in a trauma gives you some sort of hurdle, whether it be a huge black cloud, depression, triggers, whatever it is, it manifests itself in many different ways. Grief and trauma is a it's a malleable beast, and dependent on how you've been educated in life and the privileges you've had or the lack of, is how you react to these things. Once you have reacted, there's just a bunch of choices that you can make in order to get through it. I always, the fact of the matter is that I'm just very lucky in that I had a support network of people, a financial stability, and no depressive gene in my body. So I'm just very lucky. Some people may see me as unlucky, but I see myself as lucky because I managed to get through all the things I got through and come out the other side with love in my heart and a lot of people around me that carried me, and I'm allowed to be around them and travel the world with them and celebrate and look into the eyes of the audiences and see that love. And I have a healthy daughter and I see that love in her eyes and I feel it every day. And I think optimism is a gift that I had from birth, and love is a gift I have from myself and from everyone around me. But that's something you can manifest. Optimism is something you might be able to learn if you're lucky, but love is something you have to build and carry and maintain and respect and spend it as much as you can and embrace life when you can. And when you need to, stay safe and recover and be still and find peace in whatever dark corner you need. But You know, I started this band because I needed salvation and I needed safety and I needed a family and I needed to feel like I was part of something much bigger than myself. And I found it. I'm very lucky.
I love that you just said that, you went to music because you needed an outlet. And I read that you loved soul music. Did you start writing soul music, or was it soul music that sort of turned you into music or think you could start creating a band?
One of the reasons why a lot of people are not musicians is because of gatekeepers, and people that make you feel like the magic of music is intangible unless you know every chord on a guitar or blah blah blah. The thing I learned from soul music from a very young age is there's just this unbridled sense of strength and power through love and a reflection on pain and a celebration of faith, whether that's in other people, in love, in God, whatever it is. Soul music to me is just a manifestation of like the human spirit. I was always drawn to it as a child. I basically only listened to hip hop from the age of 11 to 19, but I kind of came out of that and was very hungry for other things. And, the Strokes happened and the rest was history, or the Walkman for me. But, soul music's just in my heart, as it were. It educated me on how to be unhinged, to not allow other people's judgments to stop me expressing myself to my fullest in my art. Doesn't mean I go around breaking down every time I'm sad or happy, or in life you need to have some sort of emotional stability and maturity. But that's not what art is for. Art is to straddle you into the universe and make you feel part of the magic of it all. And you don't want to have rules there. You don't want to care about what other people think of you. Or, the whole point is that you dance like no one's watching. And I think you should sing like no one's watching, and you should write music like no one's watching, because life's too short. And when you feel the magic of that unbridled soul thing, you can't beat it, and you won't beat it.
You mentioned before being a father to a healthy daughter. Congratulations. I know we grow heaps as people as we get older, but I think when I became a parent, it changed my life quite completely. How has becoming a father affected you, or changed, how are you enjoying being a father, I guess?
I love it. It's beautiful. It gives you a sense of grounded fear and joy in equal measures. And I think it's taught me to unlearn a lot of things. That thing I say in one of my songs where I talk about, if someone talked to you the way you talk to yourself, I'd knock them out. I've got to try and teach my daughter a sense of inherent confidence and self-love, and, to not worry too much about what other people think, but also to respect other people and all these things. And, it's like relearning, because I want to live by example. I'm not going to like bark orders at my daughter. I want to just live with her and experience the world with her and kind of guide her in a safe and fun and beautiful way. So I'm learning every day. It's a really amazing, steep learning curve that I'm very, very grateful for. And she's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And I love her.
Yeah, I bet. Do you think becoming a father has changed or will change your songwriting? I wondered if you guys were writing again.
We're always writing, yeah. We are well into album 6 now, really.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. Like, has it changed the way I write? It must have, because I've changed my consciousness, my cognition, and the way I see the world has changed. So yes, it must have. It's not something I would consciously do. Lyrically, I write as unconsciously as possible. At the microphone, I have to listen to the song 300 times, whatever. Musically, maybe I have, yeah. I have a sense, I've got a real hunger at the moment to want to write songs that make people dance. And I think that comes from a joy of, like, I see my mother in the joy of dancing. And it was almost like a weapon for my mother to dance in the face of her adversities and she had some real adversities. But she was such a fun and beautiful energy, very optimistic, very tough, came from a very hard place, and she fought that with joy. And that's what I learned from her. And I can see this robust, beautiful joy in my daughter. And we dance every day. Every time I'm with her, we dance every morning together for like half an hour. And I want to make music. I want love in my heart again. And I want to bring people love. And I want people to feel love and to dance, and it to be animalistic, and to not have this sense of like, I don't want to over intellectualize anything. I don't want to be smart. I want to be free. I want to dance. I just want to make music and I want to dance. And that's definitely down partly to the fact that my daughter has put things into perspective. But if I really think about it, yeah, she has changed.
I read that you said that Crawler, your latest album, was a chapter in a new book for Idols. Do you think that this new album will be part of that chapter?
No, not a new chapter. I think Crawler being the first in a new, a new phase, as it were. Ultra Mono was like the steroid version of us, because we understood what people saw us as, and we wanted to make the most brilliant version of that and kill it and murder it, butcher it, and play those songs, enjoy them as what they are, but not write them again. So we did, and it was beautiful, and I'm very grateful we did that. Crawler was the start, but obviously at the start of anything, we didn't sit around and pontificate on what we were doing. We just knew we wanted to write something new. It's not a new chapter. It's definitely a new episode in the new series. You know what I mean?
I'm so looking forward to seeing you. You're playing Spark Arena, which is like a big, huge arena in Auckland City. It's amazing how successful you guys are, that you'll sell out tickets and everything.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. Well, don't be mistaken. The bigger the bark does not mean the bigger the dog. We still got to sell tickets. Just because it's a big arena doesn't mean we're quite successful yet. But I'm excited I'm excited for the challenge. I think it's going to be great.
Because I remember I had friends that were at a party in Grey Lynn, and apparently band members of Idols went to a house party in Auckland when you were last here. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I was actually with my friend Craig, who sadly passed away recently at that party.
Oh.
Yeah, actually, shout out to Craig. He was a beautiful human being who died saving people in a landslide and ended up in
at Murawai.
Sorry?
Was he a firefighter at Murawai?
Yes. Yeah, he's a firefighter, and he died saving other people's lives. So I wanted to say shout out to Craig. I love you.
Oh, that's a really beautiful connection with you talking about Craig, because he was in our news so much. Earlier this year, the weather, the crazy weather and all the slips, and that was so, so tragic. So I'm sorry to hear that you were friends with him. It will be beautiful you coming back.
Yeah, he was a wonderful human being. Honestly, he was like, a great son, a very wonderful, loving son, and a great father, and a good friend of mine from back in Bristol. He's actually South African, but So, he was, he lived out there, and so it's nice. It's nice I get to talk about him. He's one of life's very special people, and it's crap, if I can say that.
No, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crap, but I'm glad I knew him.
Joe, I could talk to you for hours. You're such a wonderful human. Thank you for all you give to us with your music, and thank you for being so positive.
Thank you, and thanks for your time, and I'll see you at the very oversized arena.
It's like in a month's time, 24th of July, just over a month.
Well, I better get some beauty sleep then, eh?
Okay, sleep well.
All right, thanks for having me.
That wraps up another Music 101 interview podcast. Since I spoke to Joe from Idols, the band have since released Tank, T-A-N-G-K. He calls this new album our album of gratitude and power and love. All the songs are apparently about love. Go and listen to it, enjoy, and then go through all the back catalogue of Idols music too. Now, I'm live on the radio each Saturday afternoon, but if you're a busy person like me, and if you're a music fan, definitely make sure you follow this podcast so you don't miss out on our great music interviews.